Have I showed you guys the like path for this raid? So you can do Vexy, which I think is the first boss. And then you can do 4 bosses, by the way. You can do Cauldron of Carnage. You can do Mr. Reverb. You can do Styx Bunk Junker. Or you can do Sprocket Monger. Okay? It's a really weird raid layout. You can go to any of these bosses. There's 4 potential second bosses. Then you have to do all 4 of these to go in order to like One-Armed Bandit. And then it's just gone. Why did it disappear? And then Mugsy. And Gallywix. So this is interesting for a lot of different reasons. They've literally never done this. This is a completely unique raid layout ever. They've never done anything really even like this. There's no wings. Like Castle Nathria like kind of feels like the closest, but there was defined wings. None of those exist here. Heimall was close. What was Heimall, right? Heimall was you did the first boss and then you could do literally all of them. And then you had to do all of them to do the last boss, I guess. So it wasn't like this and then it was linear. It was like basically first boss and then it was like Butcher, Bracken Spore, all those bosses. And then it was the last boss, something like that. Oh no, you could actually do, didn't Paragon do Butcher after Imperator Margok? I think they did. Yeah, okay, so maybe Heimall's the closest. But I mean, that was, guys, Heimall was like 10 years ago. Heimall was more than 10 years ago. Heimall's 11 years ago. Crazy, you feel old? So, yeah, really weird. But, I don't know. I think these bosses are like kind of hard for pugs, bro. Like, okay, think about your 2-box in Mythic for the last couple expansions. You have the first boss in Vault of the Incarnates, and then you have the little council boss. Easy, right? Sarkareth tier, you have first boss, and then Zakali Assault, 2-box. Easy. Amirdrasil, first boss plus Agira, easy. First raid of this expansion, you have first guy in this raid, and then it's just all easy, right? Nerebar Palace, that you could get 4 bosses easy. Bro, can someone name me an easy 2-box here? I mean, maybe they're just like really hard on testing and they're gonna get made easier. There was actually, that was the case on a couple of bosses recently, like past couple years. Like Agira. I mean, Agira was like way harder by design, and then they're like, wait a second, this is the second boss, and they fucking nuked it. But like even Cauldron, like Cauldron isn't hard. They don't make you change sides randomly, right? You can just change in the intermission, you're vibing. But then like kicking the dolls together, even though you could just have a couple of people do that, it's still like really involved, you know? And like someone can just one person can kick something at the wrong time, 2-stack dead, you know? Maybe the number's too high, right? But we were also testing with very low eye level. But I don't know, Cauldron just seemed like, okay, so whatever. Let's just say your 2-box would, I mean, does anyone else see a 2-box that would be anything other than Vexy and a Cauldron? Maybe, I mean, Rick Reverb, bro, Rick Reverb, mechanically twice as hard as, not twice as hard. It's like a step up from Cauldron, right? But like your 4-box, bro, if people were used to getting that nice little sweet 4-box involved in the the most recent raid, Nerebar Palace, you are gonna get your fucking brains beat in, bro. That means for a 4-box, you have to either kill Styx or Sprocket Monger. I mean, it's just right away, just straight ahead. Ain't no fucking way on Sprocket Monger. Styx, maybe if they make it a little bit more intuitive for like newer players, but there's just like the area denial mechanic would just kill pugs. You would just burn everything. So yeah, I don't know. A lot of hard bosses are, I mean, I think Blizzard is probably set to not make the same mistake again, which that mistake is we've made some earlier bosses too easy, so people get to Brood Twister too fast that shouldn't be there. People get to Tindril too fast that shouldn't be there. Both of those things did happen and are true. Those bosses were arguably too hard, but at least half the problem was people should have not been at that boss at that point. The other bosses were just too easy. There wasn't, and in my opinion, there wasn't enough bosses, because I don't think Rashinan was an egregiously easy 4th boss, right? 10 to 19 pulls average, right? That's fine. That's not too low, right? I just think there wasn't like a 5th or a 6th boss in between Brood Twister. Like Brood Twister wasn't out of line for being 4th from the end, and Rashinan wasn't out of line for being 4th from the beginning. The issue is there was only 8 bosses in the raid, so the jump was massive. So I just think there needs to be more bosses, but they're not doing that. So here we are. There's going to be, I mean, unless they massively change these fights, if you're an early Mythic guild, You were at 4 out of 8 Mythic early. You're going to kill Vexy. You're going to probably find a way to kill Cauldron. I'm assuming they're going to make Rick Reverb a little easier. You're going to kill Mr. Reverb, and I think you're going to be stuck on Styx for a while. I highly doubt Styx will be as hard as, like, Brood Twister, but it could be, you know? And then Sprocketmonger. Actually, I don't think Sprocketmonger's that bad. These bosses, actually, I don't know. All these bosses don't seem that bad. I think I think one thing needs to be put in perspective as well. You guys watch testing, and I'm sure everyone, it's really hard to separate mechanical difficulty versus throughput difficulty. Like, for example, you could fight the exact same fight with 5 more eye level and its difficulty would be massively easier. We were fighting all of these bosses with criminally low eye level, like so low. So all of these bosses seemed infinitely harder than what they will be on live, right? Max, do you think this raid will be 2 weeks on the race? I mean, no one can ever know that. Like, the only thing that makes an 8-boss raid take 2 full weeks, and I'm assuming what you mean is, like, literally 14 days, like 2 full lockouts, and then it goes past the 2-week mark. The only thing that could ever make something do that, in my opinion, is something being unprogressively overtuned or bugged for multiple days and it not being fixed, which I also don't even believe that could happen. They're really good at nerfing stuff now when it needs to happen or fixing. Isn't Sepulcher the only modern Race to World first that has gone past 2 weeks? Is that true? I might be missing one. Was there another one that went Raz didn't go 2 weeks. Raz went until the day before Christmas, and then they just instantly killed the boss. They just nerfed it to where it died right away.